What's crack-a-lackin', everybody? My name is Beckett.
My name is Alex.
And my name is Kage.
And welcome back to the Back on Track podcast. Before we get into today's show, a moment from our sponsors, actually, the angry TikTok liberals who kept commenting on our one video about conservatism.
Thanks for blowing it up.
Yeah.
I punched my mic on accident just now.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Now we're gonna have
Good
audio
old Chris
problems.
Brown.
Yeah. Give him the 1-2.
All right. Well, Kage, take us into it.
All right, so for current events, we have a Crowder voting episode with the address change. Christina
Of course, you just
Grupana.
read the title on the notes.
Yes.
Keep going.
Thank you. But Christina Grupana's fake address changed overnight. And then changed to another fake address.
Teleportation.
Yes, she's also a former Clinton staffer, and neither of the addresses belong to her.
So she's dead.
Yes, obviously. Yeah, there's no good reason for both the addresses to be fake, and why are we seeing this happen repeatedly, especially Crowder looking into it? It's like the simplest thing you can do is just look into addresses of voter rolls.
Well, as he was, I'm like, this is like a total ad for Crowder, but what he was saying is you can't, evidence doesn't hold up in court unless you physically went to that address and can prove that you saw it doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. So, like, you can look at all, like, the voter rolls and say that doesn't match up, but until you physically go there, it's not hard evidence.
Yeah, you can't just, like, go on Google Maps and try to do that.
Right, yeah. Also, Dr. Seuss got canceled, kind of.
Yeah.
Somewhat. Six of his books, including his debut, were axed by his publishing company.
He actually is dead, though.
Oh, so he was canceled twice.
Yeah,
because
Christina's not, but Dr. Seuss.
Well, no, Christina. I think Christina is.
No,
dead.
she's probably dead.
Yeah.
She's former Clinton staffer who goes missing.
We've seen this before.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Epstein, who definitely he didn't kill himself, but whatever.
That's for another day.
Yeah. So Dr. Seuss, 6 of his books, including his debut, got axed, but it was by his publishing company. Mm-hmm. But they're probably trying to go woke, so I still don't agree with it.
Yeah.
However, sales of all of his books skyrocketed on Amazon.
Yay.
So once again, cancel culture screws it up. I'm going to be talking about that in my segment, so I'm not going to talk any more about it now.
Yeah.
Other big news: Texas is reopening and they're removing the mask mandate on March 10th. Only thing is, people are like celebrating and praising Governor Abbott, but I don't agree with that because he never should have had the mask mandate in the first place. He shouldn't have locked down for that long. It's been a year now to remove this, and if you look at Ron DeSantis, he's been like a champion of that, and Kristi Noem and stuff.
It was very long awaited. We've been waiting for more states to start opening up, and it just took forever for them to do it.
Yeah, Texas is a red state. Why did it take that long?
Well, I mean, he does deserve like some credit, just because. I mean, this is one of the first instances. Like DeSantis has obviously been the best. That's the only reason I don't want him to run for president, because I want him here. But how long can you be governor for? Because I was wondering that today. I couldn't remember.
There might be a 2-term limit.
Is it 2?
Might be,
2?
yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Sorry, off top.
But I disagree with you on that. I don't feel like.
Right.
Yes, he's reopening, but it's been a year of lockdowns.
Like
do you know how many Texas
he deserves
businesses?
a little bit of credit, but he doesn't deserve an overwhelming amount of applause.
I agree with that. There was a lot of pressure on these governors though to do something, because if they didn't, like, people are going to get angry and they're going to be like, this is why
people
it's not
were
stopping.
Angry,
right? But I mean, then they could. It's good that they did it for a little, so at least we can see the spread was still happening while we were on lockdown, right? So at least we don't look back and be like, man, if we had just closed down. Well, we did, and it didn't help.
Weasel Dr. Fauci.
Yes mask, no mask.
So it wasn't just Texas; it was also Mississippi.
Right, and one of our,
millions
out of our millions and trillions even of fans, we have actually people from the future contacting us all the time, and from the past. That's how we hit the trillion mark the other day.
Oh wow!
We actually got the there's a new play button after Diamond.
Please just tell us.
Yeah,
what
I'll just get. Anyway, so we had said on Instagram that it was Missouri that had removed the mask mandate, but it was Mississippi. So thank you to our fan who corrected us on that.
Yep.
Open to correction all the time.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
But once again, Tate Reeves, you don't get the all clear pass. It's still been a year, so that's just the sad reality of it.
Yeah, and Rand Paul just recently stopped the Democrats from funding the Planned Parenthood in the COVID relief bill.
Boom.
And it was amazing. But from the COVID bill last year, Planned Parenthood basically received $80 million that they weren't supposed to receive.
That's
that was
disgusting.
supposed to go to small businesses.
Wow. Man, that's horrible.
Imagine.
I
Dude,
hate that.
so bad. But he said that it was very, very low of them and very shameful for them to try to push that on small businesses that are no longer open now.
Good for him. All right, well, that's what happened this week.
Yeah.
We got 3 segments again, just like usual. Let's roll with it, Beckett.
All right. Our first segment on capital punishment, I have some opinions, information, and then I have a really long story in the middle that I kind of made up, and I'm going to do my best narrator voice for it. I didn't tell Alex that I was going to do my best narrator voice, but
I read
it's
this
going to
story,
happen.
I'm like, man, his notes are just a story.
I was trying to think of things to say about it, and then I was like, I just want to paint this picture, you know? So
You should have written a poem, because right after that, I'm doing
Dang
Dr.
it.
Seuss.
I should have.
We should have all wrote poems.
Dang it. All right. Anyways, capital punishment is what my segment's on, and this is also known as the death penalty. It is legal in 28 states. This punishment exists because people believe that some crimes are too awful for those who commit them to be locked up without being of danger to someone in the future. There have been criminals who have been locked up, life in prison, escaped, and killed people again, and it's just like it's people's judgment call on that. There were also 17 executions in 2020, which was from death row. That was actually one of the fewest in like a century. So,
And if I'm wait, was it?
yeah, it was
I thought that was stopped. I don't know why. I thought what do you call it? Death row was stopped for a period of time.
it might have been. I'm not sure. I won't
Okay.
like testify like yes.
Never mind.
But there were 17 executions, which was one of the lowest. So if that happened, that would make sense
would
why
make
it was
sense
so
that's the
low.
lowest, yeah.
But I'm not going to say that's why.
Got
Anyways, I think the death penalty has good intentions, but I'm leaning further away from it, like as the years go by. And just because, like, according to InnocenceProject.org and the National Academy of Science reports, 4.1% of people sentenced to death are innocent. And this is in the U.S. This is like over the past 50 years or so. I don't
Okay.
remember the exact number. I'm going to say 50 because I think that's safer. But that's a crazy high percentage for something like this. Like our government saying that this person's too dangerous and they're innocent.
Right.
Yeah.
So if this used to be a good way of dealing with things, I don't think it is anymore. I hate to say it, but, you know, our justice system is broken. We have a court system that lets thousands of criminals go yearly, and as I mentioned, many innocent people sentenced.
Okay, I'm going to pause you right there, and I'm going to ask you something. So would you say it would be a good way of dealing with the problem if we had a more accurate justice
Absolutely.
system? Because, okay.
Yeah, I mean,
going.
if somebody is if they plan to kill more people and they have, you know, big organizations like El Chapo's drug scandal, like
Right.
obviously he wasn't a mass murderer or anything. He was just a guy who sold a lot of drugs and made a lot of money, but he was locked up and they dug like a 2-mile tunnel to break him out.
Right.
Like these guys were committed. Imagine
Yeah.
if this like mass murder terrorist group had this guy that they really needed and they're going to try much harder to break him out. And if they have groups of people, they're going to get him out. So for that reason, like I do support the death penalty in that way.
Right.
But
Well, so it's that, but then I also, when you look at it, the burden they are to like the taxpayers is crazy.
Yeah.
I want to say I might have been with you, Kage, when we were looking it up because I wasn't sure. It's many tens of thousands of dollars. I want to say it's between $35,000 and $50,000 a year per inmate in a state prison.
Jeez.
yeah.
And that's not federal prison. That's just state prisons. Just to keep them managed.
And that's not a good sole reason, but that's definitely adds to the fact that like
if you
we
think
can't
about it, we have a
these-
lot of incarcerated people
right
in
And-
America.
and thinking about like these people have to be kept in like a solitary confinement area because otherwise they're going to hurt other prisoners because they're just
solitary
criminally
confinement
insane.
also costs
Right.
more.
Exactly. And so, you know, that's obviously you can't kill someone just because it'll cost a lot of money, but if they're criminally insane, going to hurt other people, have killed people. I mean, it just makes sense at that point. I know it's kind of, there's no nice way to talk about the death penalty.
It's pretty morbid, but necessary.
Yeah. Okay, so if you can't really see it, imagine it. I'll just paint this picture to make it easier. This is my long story,
nice
guys.
Long picture.
Ready for my narrator voice? Wait, how did Dr. Seuss talk? I don't know. I don't
think he did talk. I was pretty sure he wrote
He
books.
made up words.
One fish, two fish.
There's
red
a
fish,
swab
blue
in my
fish.
thingamabob. Sorry.
All right,
on
Beckett. I
Instagram.
want you to put on your best narrator voice.
Mother is going out today. Anyways.
What?
That's from the Cat in the Hat.
Oh,
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I
Thank you, Kage.
I was more of a green.
Thank
Eggs
you
and
for
ham
having a
fan.
childhood, Kage.
Yeah, no problem. I got
Okay.
you.
Anyways, you, listener, are a nervous wreck. You were on trial for a murder that you did not commit.
Man, y'all did that?
Yeah, you were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. You know, looking to your right, you see your lawyer. He's a less popular type of lawyer. He hasn't handled too many cases similar to this. In fact, he mainly handles local shoplifting cases as a DA. However, you had no choice. You have a poor family. You struggle to get along. This man was all you could afford. This man is your only hope. The prosecution attorney doesn't know you or your family, only what he was hired to do. The prosecution is a wealthy group of people. They hired this attorney to take down the murder of their family member. The details of this case are shaky. The proof, at first glance, however, appears to be lean kind of in your favor.
Okay, so far so good.
Right? Your family swears that you would never do anything like this. But what family would? I mean, and I'll take a break for a second because I hear that all the time. Like, there are like cops who talk to the families of like murderers that they found, like, beyond a shadow of a doubt it was them. And they're like, oh, that's not the family member I know. And it's like, yeah, everybody's...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a facade, you know?
Yeah, because I think, yeah, it just
Or they're lying.
Yeah. So the prosecution comes off firing. I mean, he's good. One of the best attorneys in the state, in fact. The wealthy family could afford him. As the prosecution steps down from their opening statements, everyone in the courtroom is impressed. The evidence, clearly in your favor, doesn't seem as significant as it once was.
This is starting to remind me of the B movie.
Stop. I'm trying to do my narrator voice, Alex. Your only hope is a great rebuttal from your DA. You hope he brings all the evidence to the table. You hope that he can be as convincing as the prosecution. You hope, obviously, that you'll walk away free. The trial is coming to a close as the prosecution and defense have just given their closing statements. The judge gives time for the jury to confer, but it's pretty clear that there's no need. You know what is about to happen. The speaking juror stands up and says that they find you guilty.
Oof.
You didn't plead that you accidentally killed a man because you didn't kill a man. They think your act to be dangerous because, I mean, you look innocent, don't you? Because you are innocent. But they're convinced by the powerful prosecution side, the evidence that he turned in their favor. They're convinced by this act. So they think your act is, dangerous. You're a dangerous criminal. You can put on that face and still kill people. You're dangerous. You're going to do it again. You're going to try to break out. It's not a good sign. They think your act to be dangerous because, after all, the murder was horrific. The judge sentenced you to capital punishment. If no more evidence is discovered, soon you will be executed. And
Dun,
obviously,
dun, dun.
it takes time, obviously, on death row. But
Yeah.
Usually...
That was a quick trial, man.
Yeah, I skipped the middle and evidence and stuff just to save your ears. I didn't want to present you with my whole made-up court case. So how would you feel? How would your family feel about this? Like, it would be awful. You didn't have the money to defend your family member, and this prosecution attorney is getting paid for it, but he doesn't know you. He wasn't there. He's not an eyewitness. He's
the prosecution attorney is Kamala Harris, and you actually only did weed.
What?
It's pretty funny because the prosecution attorney is literally relying on hearsay because they weren't there. And I think that's kind of funny because that's not allowed in a courtroom if you didn't know. Mm-hmm. But the story, I know the story I came up with might seem like a little out there, but like things like this really do happen. Obviously, a lot of the time it's not with murder cases, but capital punishment for something that someone didn't do is too extreme always. Even if it happened one time, like that's
right.
Yeah.
That's awful. Like, an innocent person lost their life because you didn't have the money to defend. And that's why like states provide an attorney, but they're not always the best attorney.
Well, no, the America provides an attorney. Oh my gosh, this makes me sound so stupid. Which amendment is that? It's in the first 10. Oh my gosh.
It's the right to one, yeah.
Right to trial by jury.
Right to trial by jury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
6.
That's
6.
Is it?
Yeah, that's 6.
Becky doesn't.
I was
remember.
like,
so sorry.
I was like thinking of 10 Commandments. I was
I'm like running through like the First Amendment freedoms, and I'm like, that's not what I'm looking for.
That's not that one.
okay.
Yeah, but so what you're saying is you agree with the death penalty if it's the right person,
right.
but if it's the wrong person, you did obviously
right. And we can't find out for sure right now with our system because the way we have it is just if you have a bad attorney, even if the evidence is all in your favor, you can still lose.
Yeah, you're basically screwed at that point.
Yeah.
And so it's for that reason that I vote for a reform in our justice system. This is a long process, and honestly, I don't have a lot of ideas how. I don't know if either of you do. I'm not really
I'm not an expert
right.
on the justice system.
And
me neither.
And I'm not great about coming up with ideas for court of law systems.
Right.
So
that sounds like a lawyer thing.
Right. But we do have to make sure innocent people are not punished on any level, especially capital. I mean, people get locked up all the time for things they didn't do, but like sentenced to death, they don't get a chance to even be let out.
And that's kind of astonishing, especially with evidence that we're starting to like have now, like all these like identification like ways to identify people is crazy.
Right.
And so we need to give the defense the benefit of the doubt 100% of the time. And I know that's how it was intended, and that's how it kind of like used to be, but I feel like we've kind of tilted away from that. And just because when you walk into a courtroom as a jury, I obviously never have, but we had like for school, we have a made-up trial, a mock trial, as we call it. And okay, I'll give this example. If you have a sibling at home, and when you see them like, if something gets knocked over, your parents were the only ones home and your sibling, and you know it wasn't you because you were you, but you
okay.
The thing is broken. Either your parents want to know who did it. You automatically assume, since you didn't do it, they didn't do it, you automatically assume it was the sibling. But like, what if the cat had jumped up there and knocked it off?
Well, the cat was an unknown variable. You didn't tell us about the cat.
Exactly.
They don't know about the cat.
Okay, that was a weird example, but I know what you're trying to say.
But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, just let's lock up the criminals, free the innocent, defend the helpless. We'll be a stronger, healthier, and more exemplary nation if we do.
Bada boom.
Yeah.
Bada bing.
Well,
I know
nice
that
job.
was a different segment since I told a story.
That was a nice
but...
story. I'm starting to fall asleep here.
Story time.
Bedtime. Sorry. All right. I told you before, I'm taking it into Dr. Seuss and not Mr. Potato Head.
Potato Head.
Gender neutral, without form potato.
Yes.
He was my favorite
Toy
character.
Story is
Yes,
canceled.
bro. That was like one of my favorite
It's going to be like what they did
characters
to,
in the movie.
what do you call it? Home Alone 2.
When
got
Trump is out.
rid of Trump, so now they're going to get rid of
Oh my
Mr.
gosh,
Potato
they're going to
Head.
go in and edit.
They'll just
on
take
all
off
Toy
his
Stories.
mustache. Wait, will it be like two gender? You know how when Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head kiss in the movie a lot? Like,
Yes.
what will it just be two gender neutral potatoes?
They're just going to sub in like actual potatoes, like not even like animated ones.
they'll just be on strings, and Andy will be holding them.
Now kiss. It's like I was tempted to say
That's
Mr. and Mrs., but
That is Mr. I mean, evil potato head to you.
but so what I was, I'm writing my notes for this, right? And I'm thinking, man, it's so weird that I'm writing for a political podcast, and the title of my notes are Dr. Seuss and Mr. Potato Head.
It sounds like a poetry kind of thing.
What
yeah.
is this?
I'm going to do that for class. I'm just going to, if we have a
Potato
poem, it's just going to be Dr. Seuss.
There is nothing the left touches that doesn't get destroyed.
Right. They've been sent to cancel land. They join Aunt Jemima, white people, and everything else liberals don't like.
Yeah.
So, it's just another episode in the left's never-ending series of cancel culture.
How
And
long?
if I sound like a dead dog, it's because I've had a cold this week.
So how long? How long before they realize that like Joe Biden is white, and not only is
Wait, what?
how we're I was sorry, I know this is kind of like off, but this is
Wow. Okay, keep going. Sure.
how long before they realize that Joe Biden is white.
Well, they know that, but he's a frail old man, so they can control him.
They
So,
just ignore
But
it.
I have a question: is he trying to be less?
well, I'm assuming he voted for himself, so I think that makes him black, actually.
Probably.
Because anyone who voted for Trump is not black,
Oh.
according to Joe Biden.
He might actually
Yeah.
be dead.
Man,
That's how the vote counted.
Wait, so did
Oh.
did any white people vote for Biden then?
well, yes, but they were instantly made black because of what Joe Biden said.
So that they're less white than the people who voted
yes,
for Trump.
they have succeeded in their goal.
Oh. If I had known it'd be that easy.
What? Okay,
Jeez.
we're gonna
Just move on.
Dr. Seuss. I just bumped my mic there. Apparently, he's now too racist to be showing to little children. So instead, we're just gonna shove transgender propaganda down their throats and force them to take puberty blockers.
Okay, so what?
Because you don't want them going through the wrong puberty, huh, Rachel Levine?
Do you know
Richard
what?
Levine?
Do you know
So
what
bad.
part of Dr. Seuss they're saying is racist?
I've got some
I-
examples.
Okay.
So apparently the argument is being made that some racial stereotypes, such as an Asian man with slanted eyes, are inappropriate, and thus that's not in all 6 books, but 6 books have been pulled by his estate. So that's his publishing
I
company.
mean, it's not racist to think like that's how he decided to draw the character's eyes.
Well, so I'm gonna don't worry. I'm gonna address that. Don't worry. So it was his debut. That was one of the first ones they pulled, and it's called "And to Think I Saw It on Mulberry Street," which that's like one of his
that's
most
pretty
famous
popular,
ones.
right?
Yeah. The other ones are much less popular than that one, but that was the most popular one they did pull. But however, cancel culture backfired once again, because dozens of his books shot to the top of Amazon's print bestseller list on Thursday morning. 9 of the I'm reading a quote here. 9 of the site's top 10 bestsellers were Seuss books. That was according to New York Times.
Ooh.
So, someone who's been dead for a while now has 9 out of 10 top books on Amazon.
and it's not like they just discovered him either.
Yeah.
They've been
The
around.
thing, it's like a recurring pattern, because remember Goya, when
Yeah.
their sales shot up 400% after AOC tried to cancel them?
I'm not gonna lie, I would love to look up the numbers on My Pillow and see what they're at now.
I wish like they would try to cancel
I didn't know
like
about
my bank account, and then it would just prosper.
It's like, oh my gosh, I'm a billionaire now.
Just wait, hold
They tried
on.
to cancel my Venmo.
Elon Musk will just tweet about it. And it'll
Please
just,
cancel me. Cancel me. Oh man, that'd be funny. Not only that, but Joe Biden decided to leave out Dr. Seuss entirely on his Read Across America Day proclamation. Not only that, but Joe Biden decided to entirely leave out Dr. Seuss on his Read Across America Day proclamation. So that's Theodore Geisel's birthday. Theodore Geisel is Dr. Seuss. And as a kid, I didn't know that they were the same person.
Wait,
Yeah.
someone had 2
I didn't even know who
names?
I didn't know Theodore Geisel was a person. I
Theodore?
thought Dr. Seuss was his name.
It's Theodore without an E. So
Oh, Theodore.
Theodore.
The door.
Door.
The door.
But that whole, the Read Across America Day proclamation thing was a tradition that started with Barack Obama in 2009 and continued through the Trump administration, except the one time when Melania Trump read Dr. Seuss to children in the hospital in 2017,
Wait,
which is heartwarming.
they canceled a black guy's
That's
tradition.
right. Yes, that's right. Yes.
Huh. Doesn't sound very unwhite, does it?
It was part of their
Be less white,
It was part of
Joe.
their Be More White campaign.
that-
Be more white.
That's very counterproductive.
Joe Biden is actually like the most racist candidate in a long time.
Disagree?
true.
You can
No.
look it up.
That's one.
What?
I think that's one. I
Won
think
what?
he's won the presidency. I think since like I don't.
Yeah, one of the most racist has won the presidency. And I
Oh.
see that you're confused.
Yeah. Not.
I don't know. I'm like trying to piece together what you just told
Only
me.
we
Yeah,
had video.
sorry.
All right.
You see the confusion on his face. He just lost everything.
Speaking of video, we're on TikTok and Instagram, and we have funny videos, and you
Yes.
should watch them.
They're probably the most funny videos on the internet. So if you
Listen.
want to be a part of the cool squad that knows everything about funny, yeah.
If AFV was still a thing, we'd be on there and
I
win
think it
every
is.
time.
It's just not as good.
It's probably AFV without the guy.
It's just
no,
AFV.
there's a new host,
It's
but
just-
I thought it got canceled.
It's
See?
just AFV, but no one's golfing, so it's not as good.
Okay, more. So I've been quoting a New York Times article for most of this because they were just kind of like writing about this, and they were saying that it was all about updating and curating his work while seeking to protect his brand, but also rejecting some of his views. That seems harmless enough, right?
Yeah.
Just update his work. Wrong. The problem with this is that it gets rid of your ability to look at it yourself. Like if someone else is making all the decisions on what's right and wrong, that means that the people can't look at it and decide for themselves.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big step in the wrong direction. So when a big publishing company like the one that it was his publishing company, but when they decide to go woke and remove whatever they don't like, it makes it so that you can't come to your own conclusions because they've already been made for you. It's a form of modern book burning almost. And as history has shown us, the people who burn the books aren't the good guys.
Never have been.
I mean, unless it's like Stay Warm.
No. You know what I'm trying to say. People who burn books for ideology.
Yeah.
They're the bad guys.
Always.
Yeah. But, and I'm not saying that Dr. Seuss having bad racial undertones is in his writing is okay. I'm just saying that it was a matter of reality in the time that he was writing. That's how it was. And, that's not how it is today, but by stopping publishing on these 6 books, it's bringing us closer to erasing the history of that time. Those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it.
I also heard this quote recently that was, history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes.
What?
Like basically, so like if history, like how people say history repeats itself, it's like the same thing, but with a tiny little twist.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Wow, you definitely should have explained that instead of leaving me to understand by myself.
Again, we need video.
I'm constantly confused when you guys are talking to me. So I'm gonna move from Dr. Seuss to genderless neutral potato head now.
Isn't it just gender neutral?
Genderless neutral potato head to
No.
you, Beckett.
No, but if it was genderless, genderless is its own adjective. So if you say gender neutral, then
It's a double neutral.
Yeah, so that if you're saying genderless and then he's neutral, that sounds like he's paralyzed.
Well, maybe he is. I don't know. They haven't told us yet. But I'm not going to really get deep into this, but
If you take off his shoes.
It's Potato Head, formerly Mr. Potato Head to you. But the moral of the story is they changed the name to promote, promote gender equality and inclusion. I'll read this quote. This was from Hasbro. Hasbro is making sure all feel welcome in the Potato Head world by officially dropping the Mr. from the Mr. Potato Head brand name and logo to promote gender equality and inclusion.
Including everyone except those who had a childhood with Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head.
For real. This is like the biggest joke ever. I mean, get rid of the potato's gender to make the world a better place.
There were literally attachments to make it whatever gender you wanted. I'm so confused.
You could not write a movie as funny as reality in America today.
It's very true.
We're getting rid of the gender of a potato while bombing Syria.
Yeah, it really shows what our priorities are. Like, or at least this administration is.
Well, I wouldn't pin that to the administration, but
Yeah, but
sure.
they support it.
How long before they get angry at the movie Cars that we gave Cars genders? They're just
Gender
like,
neutral.
we should
Cars
just
4.
left it. Cars are already gender neutral, and so are potatoes. Let's just leave it.
Listen, that franchise, I love Cars 1.
Yes,
I love Cars 1.
Fantastic.
Cars 2 got a little bit worse.
but like
And then
every
Cars 3 got a
sequel.
little bit worse. Again, Cars 1, I think the
Okay.
original was the best one.
Correct. That is 100%
It's true.
true.
But the
Cars 2
spy
was also.
concept?
I feel like Cars 2 was phenomenal, but it wasn't as good as the first one.
Cars 2 was...
The spy.
It was the mater.
Finn
It was the spy.
McMissile.
one. Yes.
Okay,
and
what
I
was
loved
3?
that character. I loved a British accent in a car. That
Finn
was so funny. McMissile.
Missile.
Okay.
But and then wait, Toy Story, the 1 and 2
I
were
don't care.
equally as good.
Okay, fair. That's fair.
Yes.
Very fair.
But what I'm saying is, first it was Mr. Potato Head. This is a quote from House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy. from California. Now it's Dr. Seuss. Who do you think they're coming after next? I think I can answer that question.
What do you think's coming next?
I think it's you, Kage.
Me?
I think it's you, Beckett. I think it's me.
They're coming after the Cages?
No, they're not. They like the cages.
I know they love
Kids
the
in
cages.
They built them.
They built them. But I'm not really a huge fan of Kevin McCarthy because he's a pretty standard establishment Republican.
Yeah.
But he does open the excellent question, and I do think they're coming to cancel, Americans.
I'm actually kind of disappointed that it's still called the White House. I mean, I just wish it would be less White House.
Please.
Stop while your head,
Oh my
Beckett.
gosh, you're
Stop while your
beating a
head.
dead horse. Not literally, that would be abuse. We do not support abuse.
PETA, don't come after us.
But we've already talked in depth about cancel culture multiple times, but the saga continues over and over again, left and right. Actually, left and left. Things keep getting canceled because left-wing celebrities or corporations want to pursue racial justice.
Yeah, and as you see, like with all this happening with the woke culture, they're really not that many of them when you put into perspective how many, like how much the sales are skyrocketing. Like the woke mob is not big.
Okay,
it's just loud.
I have a conspiracy theory that I just thought up in my head. What if that these companies are hiring people to cancel them so that their
Ooh.
sales go up? That would be so smart.
That would kind of be
Alice,
really
you
smart.
shouldn't have said that. We could have done it.
Oh my goodness! Why we need to start a company now?
Let's go.
Yeah,
Okay.
wait.
All right. Well, I'm gonna wrap that my segment up there. Enjoy.
Cool. Well, now it's for my segment, which is all about Trump's return at CPAC.
Dun dun dun.
His opening line. Do you miss me yet? Yes, we do. Oh my goodness. We don't have peace in the Middle East anymore. A whole bunch of stuff is happening.
That did not sound like crying. That was crying, guys.
Yeah,
I
it
know
was
it didn't
crying.
sound
It was
like
crying.
it.
We need video again. But before we dive deeper into the speech and what it meant, let's recognize the difference between the transitions of powers. Trump waited 1 month to go public, which, again, I don't really think was really all, like, he wanted to wait 1 month. He was, like, also canceled for, like, on Twitter and stuff like that. He couldn't really talk. But he refused to go on any shows or talk in depth on interviews. And he waited 1 month to criticize the Biden administration. But what did they do to him? The first day he was in, 16 minutes after his inaugural, and he got inaugurated, they tried to impeach him. 16 minutes they started it.
Okay, I'm going to pause you right there. I am so distracted by the fact that our guests right now are playing Uno. All I can hear are the cards shuffling.
Play the draw 4.
Uno out.
Cage
Let's get back on track, shall we?
Every time I hear back on track now, all I think of is this. I'm like, man,
know.
someone knows about
Did you
us.
know
It's
there's
like,
so
no,
many songs called Back on Track? I've tried to search our podcast and like 18 different songs have come up.
Would you search it on Apple Music?
No, just like on various things. Like I'll just search it online trying to find our website or something, which by the way is backontrack.com.
I think if you find...
It's probably because of the spelling. That's what makes
I
us
think if
stand
you
out.
search back
sometimes
on
the
track,
autocorrects.
this the right way, you find us first.
Yeah, we're first. We're number one.
But sometimes the autocorrects, and it's just every song that's ever come out.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, it's a popular song.
But again, the media and everyone came at Trump immediately without him even having his first action. Trump waited. He waited a month.
Trump breathes and
Yes.
commits a crime while doing it.
Exactly. But this is really what we should be doing. We should wait 1 month or a certain period of time after an administration gets put into the White House to see what they're capable
to see
of.
how they're doing.
Yeah, see how they're doing and wait to criticize them.
Well, hold on.
Unless it's like, obviously.
Well, right. Like, because wasn't our first podcast episode like a week?
Yeah, you're allowed to criticize them, but I'm saying mostly from like the past president. Should wait a little bit, or at least just see what's going on. You can warn people, you can guess what's going to happen, and just see what's going on. You can commentate on what is happening, but like 16 minutes after you're inaugurated, you haven't done anything.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
There's no reason to try to impeach him at that point.
That's like us seriously blaming the deaths from COVID on Biden after the first day he was in office. Like
That was a funny joke.
that was
just
hilarious.
funny.
Like,
It has been
wasn't
one
it like a
day-
record day too? That was so funny. Like not funny,
I wanna say
obviously.
the first
Very
3
very
days,
tragic that those
32,000 people died of COVID under Joe Biden. It was so sad.
Yeah.
It was.
It was actually sad, but I don't think that's like a
it
Biden
was
thing.
the joke that the statistics were funny. The people whose lives were lost or not, but you know what we meant.
That's what we were getting. Yeah.
yeah.
But before I get into this whole speech, they heard a quote from Charlie Kirk that says, "Every single position that a conservative advocates, we live. And every single position a Democrat advocates is inconsistent of how they want to live." And then he goes to show examples about how conservatives are pro-border walls. They're pro, putting walls around houses, pro-gun, because we want to be protected by guns, and pro-opening schools, and how Democrats want to have the school shut down because it's quote-unquote too unsafe. But then you have people like Matt Meyer, who says that it's unsafe, but then goes and puts their kids in school.
Or like Rachel, also Richard Levine, who was an advocate of lockdowns, yet took her grandmother out of a nursing home. Or that's just one example that I could think of.
Yeah, and there's countless other examples. One I'm going to hit on real quick is they're against borders. Obviously, they're against the borders, but they
Have you
set
seen
one,
Washington D.C.
They
lately?
set one up around the Capitol. How convenient! Borders are only necessary when it protects the higher ups for them.
What if we put all the liberals in cages?
Okay.
Okay, let's not do that.
But you see how it sounds, right?
Well, but the thing is, they're not actually cages. They're like the most beautiful learning centers you've ever seen.
Yeah, they have pool.
They no longer. I want to say, I can't remember. It was maybe the Department of Health and Human Services,
Which
it was one of those.
which guess who runs?
I'm not going to say.
No
it.
runs.
But they stopped allowing people into the detention centers, like the quote unquote cages, because of quote unquote COVID-19. But really, I think it's just to prevent people from seeing that they're actually really nice inside.
Yeah.
That keep going. That was all.
But basically, it's what to say is that Democrats are very hypocritical when it comes to these statements.
Big time.
Yes. This speech was very different than what we're used to in President Trump. Or, I guess, previous President Trump. But he was very calm, very collected, very direct and articulate of what he wanted to say, and was very critical in the Biden administration. He truly showed off how much better he was than Biden. And
Rightfully so.
talking about immigration and other issues like that, and the stock market, too. The speech was
Why'd you
amazing.
look at me when you said that, huh?
What?
You looked at me when you said that?
Yeah, well, you love the stock market. You love the stock market. But he came right out the gate and said, "We are not starting a new party," and called the news fake for trying to get people to think they were starting a new party, which really puts me at ease because that would just divide our numbers, and that's what the media wants us to do, is divide our numbers.
That's right into it.
They're trying to they're not, they haven't decided on their psychology, and they're trying to do reverse psychology, but at the same time not. They're like,
reverse psychology.
guys, don't do it.
Yeah, and for examples, he said that Biden is one of the most, if not the most destructive presidents in the first month, and he says he's anti-job, anti-family, anti-borders, anti-energy, anti-woman, and anti-science.
Things that he has proved throughout his first month and a half.
Countless times.
Yeah.
Did you say anti-race in general?
Anti-human?
He just doesn't like people.
He's not Mark Wahlberg. Well, not Wahlberg. It's
Mark Wahlberg.
Do you think
is
Zuckerberg?
Awesome. Mark Zuckerberg.
He probably forgot he was a person.
He's not a person.
dude. He looks like a lizard.
He is a lizard. It's like he sheds his skin once a day.
But if you don't believe that he was more articulate than he ever has been, have you seen the news lately?
Have you had ears lately?
Yeah, they haven't really talked about his speech a whole lot. The New York Times has said basically nothing. You can tell that when Trump talks, they are all up on it. But with this speech, because he was so articulate and so direct with what he wanted to say, there's basically no news coverage, which I think is very interesting. He showed a lot of restraint, and he precisely talked about what we call rhinos. in our own party.
I'm just thinking it must have been really hard for him to show restraint.
I know.
He's like, when he gets off the teleprompter, he's like just gonna go for it.
Yeah, he basically just hammers in like whatever he wants to say. Like he is very.
I would hate to be the guy running the teleprompter at a Trump speech.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just like, did I type that? That's my bad. Yeah.
But one thing that I think Trump is really good for the Republican Party and for the future in general is that he's challenging these people. Like he's not letting them go off scot-free, and we aren't either. He's challenging their ideas and what they do because they're not acting in the way they should.
Right. I think we mentioned it last episode, blindly following the Republican Party just because it's got the R, next to on the ballot.
Yeah.
I think that's really wrong, and it's
very wrong.
really ignorant. So
super ignorant. But one thing that I loved out of the speech particularly is that it was very, very optimistic and very upbeat and happy. It made me feel like we had hope.
Yeah.
For like the first time basically in a month with like politics going on. He was very, very hopeful and optimistic about what he had to say. He said we will take back the House and we will take back the Senate and take back the White House. He even joked that he might have to win for a third time.
Boom.
But because of the voting, obviously.
We got it.
But the best part of the speech, I think, came from when he talked about women's sports.
Oh,
and
yes, my favorite thing in the world.
You mean transgender sports now?
Well, he particularly hit on how their transgender people in women's sports are breaking records and beating out people who are biological females.
Yeah, wasn't there like an MMA fighter who like broke 2 women's skulls?
Yes, I think so. I forget the name.
There's also like she's like a 40 or 50-year-old woman, man actually.
Yeah.
Sorry, playing on like a young women's basketball team, and she's like 6 foot something. It's like, oh my gosh,
it's okay.
He is like 6 foot something. Sorry,
it's okay. It was already broken anyways. That to be, yeah, there have been a lot of things wrong with the WNBA since its beginning. If you research the WNBA, it's been awful since the beginning. So
no, I think it might not have been the WNBA. It might have been like a college. I have to look it up.
Yeah,
could have been women's.
Yeah, well, you know, at least if women's basketball gets canceled, they'll put something good on Saturday mornings on ESPN. Like we'll have.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
wow, he really.
Okay,
really
listen.
Fired
everybody agrees, unless you're in the nobody watches. That's why they don't get paid. That's the reason.
Okay, one thing I have to say.
Wait, you mean it's not because they're women?
It's not actually.
Okay.
Okay, I have a little side note. Shout out to my Tennessee Volunteers women's basketball for being the first team to have 1,400 wins.
I thought you were going to say to have 5 starting previous males.
No. Nah, dude, that's a little shameless plug to my college. I love it.
I felt shame.
You felt shame. But this speech was very good. I highly recommend you go and listen to it. It was very long, very articulate, and was very critical on our own party and the Biden administration, which I think was really good. It sounded more of a union speech than just a speech at CPAC. I think that was very intentional in the way he did it.
State of the Union.
Yeah, State of the Union, sorry.
Man, I think that was one of his best speeches ever.
Yeah.
Was it last year?
Mm-hmm. I think if he would have spoke more about this, he probably might have gotten a little more votes. But still, it's really nice to see him back in the spotlight. This was really just a speech to bring the Republican Party together and stand up to the corporate administrations and big tech.
Right.
Yeah.
I did want to add one more thing about the basketball thing. Sorry, I know we went back. I do actually enjoy sometimes, not all the time. I do enjoy, you said Tennessee Volunteers. I do like women's college basketball sometimes. WNBA, I can't stand. So
I don't like
Don't hate
WNBA.
me. If you like the WNBA, I'm sorry for you. I'll pray for you.
I'm more of a college person in general. Like college football, that's my stuff.
I like college basketball a lot better. I honestly don't like any pro basketball these days. So,
all right, well, we've had a really good 3 segments here. We're going to go to our next segment,
which is
we're answering your questions.
All right. First question. What event in U.S. history do you think had the most impact on our country? All right. When I read this, I'm going to assume that it's saying like what shaped our country
in a positive way,
the most in a positive way. I have 1.5 events because I couldn't really pick one that I can think of. First one would be Washington on Christmas Eve. Was it Christmas Eve or Christmas? The Delaware River when they took the British troops. I think that was a major turning point in the American Revolution.
Yeah,
so
it
without
was.
that,
We
would not have.
You could say American Revolution. That's probably allowed. Just
why
American Revolution? Just 'cause
we're canceling America. But I think that without that event, we wouldn't have a country. But then I would also say the Civil War.
Yeah.
Because it definitely changed a lot. One, it changed warfare. Like there was a lot of new techniques.
It was the deadliest war.
Yes, and also it also changed like whether or not slavery was going to be a thing, whether or not we were going to stay as one country, and I think that's that was a big part of it.
It was very big one.
What's yours?
I'd have to agree with you on the Civil War.
Yeah, same.
Cool, I win. All right, next question.
Or are we going to question?
All right. Do you think white
Yes.
people who are being attacked in the workplace because they are white should file as a civil rights complaint?
Probably not. It'll get labeled as racist.
I would say yeah. I'd say it should be. Like, if you're being punished for being you.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Man,
I think you
can't
should
change this.
He's slapping his arm, guys. He is white. This is what's happening. Anyways, I think, yes, I would agree with you, Kage. But to be honest, I don't think it's going to do anything.
It won't do anything.
It won't do anything. But I think you should exercise that as yes, you want to make your voice heard. You want to let people know that you think that's wrong.
Yeah, right.
So yeah.
Well, right now we're having a couple mic issues, so in conclusion, give us money.
I thought
We're not.
No, so I'm going to roll into our
we're
next question that
joking.
we
We're
have.
joking.
Okay, let's have
Don't close out.
What's the next question?
I love what you guys are doing on this podcast. I would love to show my support. How can I donate?
Wow,
we thought
that is
you
the
would
best
never
question.
Ask. We've been waiting for so long,
Dude.
So, we actually are fundraising so we can make more. So we can get new equipment.
Yes.
We're actually saving up for a Bugatti currently.
Yeah.
Yes.
$6,500 gets us a Bugatti, guys.
Yeah.
Very true.
I don't even think that would get us the paint job,
It
right?
would not. I can guarantee.
It wouldn't get us an oil change.
An oil change is like $30,000 in a
Oh
Bugatti.
my gosh.
Jeez.
Yeah.
It wouldn't give us
Wheels with tires without the wheels. $80,000.
We could get a fifth of an oil change, almost. But yeah, a little more than a fifth.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep going.
Yeah, but so you can actually donate by PayPal. If you go to donate.backontrack.com, it takes you to our beautiful website where you can donate.
Yeah.
It is very.
And
I'm
you
pretty
can-
sure you can
you
even leave us like a nice note.
You can keep this tab open and open the new tab. Do it right now.
It's also
We're
free
watching.
to go to the next page to donate. Except then you have to pay money to donate, but otherwise it's free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, obviously, if you
So-
donate money, it will cost you money,
Yes.
unfortunately.
Yeah. But we're trying to raise $6,500. Remember, next week is studio week. We are going to be in the studio next week.
Yes.
So we are really trying to put all that together. We are like running on
Yeah.
bare bones here.
We just want to improve our quality for
Right.
you guys.
Man, it takes so long to edit this, but
Yes.
you know,
And we're
that's-
also going to have something special next week, guys. So stay tuned. Besides video, right? We're starting.
we are.
Yes, you know.
We're
know.
not starting
I'll
video
explain
next
it to you later, and I'll tell the guests. Yeah, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, he
Okay,
knows.
I know what
He
you're
knows.
talking
He knows. It's special. He knows.
You
Man.
just have to stay tuned, I guess.
Okay. So yeah, I'll ask you later. Never mind.
Oh my goodness!
You
All
guys
right,
are
well,
gonna want to see this. This is
We
great.
just want to thank you for your questions and emails. Remember, if you have questions, comments,
Concerns.
concerns, that was the third one. You can email us at info@backontrack.com. We are
Yes.
on social media: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook.
Yeah. Want to be on
YouTube.
Facebook? It's for our grandmas and dads.
That's right. You matter too,
Wait.
and we want to make sure you get all the same content.
Yeah, and our moms too. Sorry, mom.
We're on YouTube. We want to push YouTube because YouTube is going to be a big thing at some
Yes.
point.
Yes.
We are coming in hot.
We need that good
Andy
ad-
Mineo style.
We need those good
No,
ad.
not Andy Mineo.
We need the good advertisements on our channel. You know. We'll,
Yeah. So every Tuesday, 10 a.m.
Yes.
we upload. You can every Tuesday.
Yes.
You can count on us. We've got loads of episodes. If you haven't listened to them, go back and give them a
If
listen.
this is your first time, go listen to all of them, please.
Also welcome.
Yes, and if you made it this far, we thank you so much.
You're in the End Club.
You're in the End Club. Comment down below that you were in the End Club. This has been
the Back on Track podcast.
Podcast.
We are now
Signing off!